food is something that we all need to survive. And so what we're eating can either be contributing to illnesses and diseases of our mind and body, or it can be preventing or alleviating illnesses and diseases of our mind and body. So it's very important for us to get educated, get some good information, correct information about what food is, how to use it for our overall health and wellness. And the guest that I have today, she is my friend. She is somebody that has so much great positive energy, so I cannot wait to introduce her. Christiane, how are you doing this morning?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on your show today.
Absolutely. I'm going to briefly read your bio, and then I'll have you just kind of share with our community a little bit about who you are, how you got started, and we're going to get right into the show.
Perfect.
So, guys, today we're going to be talking about healing through food. Christiane Matey, she's an integrative and functional dietitian and the founder of Mint Nutrition. She has a depth of experience in health, wellness, and fitness. She's a graduate of the Culinary Institute of America, and she has a Master of Science in Health Sciences in Integrative Medicine from the George Washington University School of Medicine program. And she has spent decades crafting foods from scratch in kitchens all over New York City, Boston, London, and beyond. We are pumped to have you.
Thank you. This is so great.
This is great.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about, before we get into food and how food heals, tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of how you got started on your journey.
So we could spend an hour talking about, all the issues that I've had, but really it's through my own health challenges that I really learned the wheres and whys. So as a young kid, surrounded by food in the restaurant industry from parents who were chefs, I really had learned a lot about food, the goods and the bads. And so through my ups and downs, I really used food as a crutch. Became obese by the time I was 12, tipping the scales at 220, ended up with a lot of health issues and wanting to know more why. So learning how to be better about diet and helping myself out. And I was just miserable. I hated how I felt. At such a young age, at 12, you're going through puberty and feeling confused anyway about life and how your body's changing. I just was really miserable. So I lost a lot of weight at a young age and learned how to use food in that manner and not in a dysfunctional sense. But it really never resolved my health issues. And so as I became into my 20s, I sought after a very famous doctor. James D'Adamo is the blood type doctor, and didn't realize he was in my backyard. And I ended up working with him for 4 years. He was my doctor at the time and learned a ton. And so I basically spent my life really trying to learn why. Most of us that are in this industry or have our own struggles, and therefore we seek and we educate ourselves, and then we teach and coach and help other people. So I've been able to resolve a lot of my own issues through my education and then finding ways to teach other people. So that's
a big deal, such a big deal. And so thank you for being here. And I think you just kind of went over a very important point. You asked the questions why. You asked the questions why, because a lot of times, especially kind of growing up, I just know in my household, food is just love. You cook, you prepare, growing up, that's what you're doing, but you're not making the connection of what it might actually be doing to your body, to your mind, how you feel. So talk a little bit about that. When we think about food, affects mood, it affects everything. Food is medicine. Let's kind of go back to the idea and the concepts around food.
Sure. So think about the things that make you joyful about food. Like, oh my gosh, I went and had this, my mom used to make this, and this is how it made me feel. So sometimes food can be comforts. Food can be memories. Food, there's such a connection and a love affair. There could also be, too, I worked with enough people, could be not healthy, or there was a lot of turmoil in the household. So someone sat in the closet eating cookies, and that was their way of, just comforting themselves and using food in that manner. So I think the disconnect is a lot of understanding that it's about balance. A lot of people look at us as dietitians. Oh, I bet you eat salad all the time. I bet you don't eat cookies. And I'm like, no, I teach my clients how to have it in a healthy manner so that you're eating the things that you love. We talk a lot about mindset and how if I could teach my clients the mindset of not mystifying food. We don't say, oh my gosh, this donut, I have to have it, or food is readily available at the drop of a hat or a click of a button. We can have it on our doorstep, and there's donuts in every shop around the corner. And once we demystify that and realize, you can have it at any time, it makes it a little less desirable.
Got it. Got it. So when you talk about your job, your profession, what exactly is an integrative and functional dietitian? So when people come to you, what can they expect? What does that mean?
They usually come to me because they're not feeling good. They're not like, hi, I feel great. Can you just teach me some things? They really are, they're having symptoms and everything else. So integrative and functional really goes to the root cause, like figuring out why, helping them discover what does their body need? Or yes, we're very similar, but we're also complex, our lifestyle, what stresses us out, how our body works. So my job is to really figure out what's causing some of the symptoms, why do they feel this way, and then teach them. If I asked you, do you want to be 55 and spoon-fed in a diaper? Most people say no. No. I want to be healthy and vibrant with my loved ones. So my job is to figure out how does their body work, teach them that, and then teach them lifestyle changes so that they can live their best life.
I love that. And again, it goes back to asking why. And I think it's important when we think about how we feel on a daily basis. So, for example, if somebody's not feeling their best, whether it's brain fog, digestive issues, constipation, or just any other type of illness that might be going on, it could be related to what they're consuming.
Sure, absolutely. Yep, without a doubt. Like I have a client, we'll call her Lucy. She has a single mom, 2 children, massive migraines, like debilitating migraines, constipated, acne, just not working, miserable, depressed, on and on. And within a few months, we figured out what was causing all of that. And then giving her really a guideline on what does her body need. So not only were we kind of treating the root cause and the symptoms, we're now replacing that with things that her body needs. And so it's now getting back in, and everyone wants to be sharp and vibrant and feeling great about their body and feeling healthy. But a lot of people are walking around miserable, and it could be stress. It could be, it is a lot lifestyle factors too. If we're sitting around and we're inactive and we're eating out of a bag or a box and, everything's through the drive-through line. I don't know about you. I see the ads. Everything's beige. Yeah. I call it beige ads. And I'm like, oh my gosh, there's not even lettuce on that sandwich, So eating the rainbow and everything else, there's a lot to that. We could spend a whole series talking about plants and why we should eat them, and they have all sorts of chemicals in them and everything else.
Yes, but I think as you're talking about that, it's so important to know that all of these things contribute to exactly how we're feeling. And so whether it's a cancer scare or any type of diagnosis, people sometimes don't even recognize that food can be a contributing factor in terms of your healing or decline. How you're treating your body, what we're consuming, it matters. And so I think the educational components about what it is that we should be looking for, how we should take those things in, when we should take those things in. I've seen you do some things around timing of foods. And I was thinking about drinking water before you eat, kind of filling yourself up. And we just had a conversation before the show.
Sure.
Some of those things are not so great for you.
No, it's dampening your ability to digest the food. Digestion starts in the brain. We really sort of look at the food. We're not excited about what we're eating anymore. We're shoving it down, and we're emailing or watching TV, distracted. We're not really even paying attention. So we don't even know what it tastes like. It's just going in the belly. And then obviously if you're diluting your digestive juices with water, then we're not digesting the food, and then it becomes problematic for the GI, and then we're belching, gas, constipation, diarrhea, all sorts of stuff.
And you said about 20 minutes before your brain registers that you should be digesting your food starts around 20 minutes.
Yes, to be full. It triggers your stomach gets so full that it'll trigger a hormone. It takes about 20 minutes for your brain to say, yeah, we're good.
Wow.
So if you just pause, it's like, oh, I'm satisfied. But we typically shove it down, and then it's like, oh my gosh, I'm so full. I'm uncomfortable.
Yes.
And then how much of that are you digesting or absorbing? And I think there's a lot of people that don't really understand food has nutrients in it, and the nutrients we need to function just on a normal basis. So, and it's complex. It's not so straightforward like, oh, we just need X, Y, Z. There's just so much that we do need in order to function normally. But feeling good, we wrap ourselves around being fit and healthy. That feels good.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're ever fit and healthy, you're like, I feel great. And if you ever go on the other side, you're like, I'm depressed. I feel awful. Everything hurts. I don't enjoy how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't realize that it's the choices that we're making. It's the activities or inactivities that we're doing. And it's really, it all starts in the mind.
Yeah. And we're going back to just how quickly we consume. I am one of the queens of fast eating because schedule's on the go. And so even when I sit down and eat, I'm so used to eating quickly, but having to really practice to say, slow down, slow down, chew your food, make sure you taste what's going on. Yeah. So what can you say to our listeners now? Because somebody's probably driving down the road listening to this show,
Eating their sandwich.
Eating their sandwich, right? Doing a walk, activity. They're doing something, being mindful. So what is a practice that we can kind of get in the habit of when it comes to what we should be eating and being able to slow ourselves down enough so we can actually get the digestion process happening?
Mm-hmm. And that's being mindful of just being aware. Like, okay, not waiting too long in between meals. I am a fan of fasting. We fast every night. A lot of people freak out and go, "You're telling me to starve." No, we don't eat all night.
Yeah.
But what we do eat is using food in the right way so that it works for your body. So we're not having breakfast at 6 o'clock in the morning and then not eating until 2 or 3. Now the whole process is off and we're not feeling good, or now we're choosing not the right food. So planning that out, or really getting that idea of that structure is really helpful. And then, what are you eating? Ask yourself, what am I eating? What does it taste like? Be mindful. What does it smell like? What does it look like? The things that normally we're just too busy with and distracted will help you be more aware in slowing down or putting your fork down, chewing obviously more, and being mindful about standing and eating. I'm definitely growing up in the restaurant business.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I'm always standing and eating. So I have to remind myself, I got to sit down, make a plate. And when in doubt, eat more fruits and veggies. I'm going to get T-shirts that are made up. Say that.
You should.
When in doubt, eat more fruits and vegetables.
Eat more fruits and veggies, yes.
Exactly.
So you are the founder of a company called Mint Nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us a little bit about your company, your organization, what you do, kind of what your day-to-day is, and how you're spending time helping your clients live a healthier lifestyle.
Yeah, so it's really encompassing. Like I said, a lot of people come to me, they don't feel good. So I do one-on-one coaching and really helping them connect the dots so that they can learn. I don't want people dependent on me. I want them to learn, what their body needs, how are they feeling, resolve some of their symptoms, and getting them well on their way. And then hopefully they trickle this out to the rest of their family and they learn these lifestyle changes that really are impactful because it's just day to day. I'm always reminding people it's the small things that matter. When we choose, someone can come to me with diagnoses and having to lose a lot of weight and they just feel so overwhelmed. If I can get them to do something simple, such as just drinking a little extra water or getting up and moving more, or, things that they are deciding to do, making these really small changes become new habits, and that that becomes a greater, more impactful result on their life.
I love that, because I think when people think about whether it's weight loss or trying to feel better, it's not this one-size-fits-all program, because you just identified you have to understand what does your body need. Starting there, why are we feeling the way we feel? What does your body need? How do you go about that process? Because each person is different. So how do you identify or help them identify what they need?
A lot of it's through the assessment in the beginning. I have one-on-one coaching so people can come to me if they really want to dig deep on something and wants to know why. I have to spend the time to figure that out. So I spend a couple hours really assessing everything. After that, we do more coaching and we work together in a collaborative manner, because even though I saw a few things, it's like it's really dependent on how we put things in action. How's their body responding to that? What do they need? And then I have another program called the FAST program, where someone can come in just to reduce inflammation, help with their sleep cycles, feel better, all those things. So really teaching them a lot of the structures that I'm teaching my other clients as well, of how to use food as fuel, how to use it in your favor, how to eat a cookie, how can you have your cake and eat it too? So anytime I can teach someone that, they're like, it's empowering. It teach them what to choose when they're going out to dinner, things like that. It's connecting those dots, and it really resounds with them because it's more practical versus just me sitting there telling them what to do.
That's good. And they feel like they have some buy-in into the program. So how to have a cookie, how to not have to get away from everything. I'm a pizza person, so.
Yeah. And pizza's not bad, it's what we put on it or how we eat it. And it's really interesting when clients start with me, I always warn them, I'm like, listen, I'm just going to tell you, once you start to eat clean and your body's happy, your body will thank you for it. You start to feel really good. Now, let's say you go out, it's Friday night and it's a cheeseburger or a whole pizza, and you have a couple of drinks and maybe finish off with a piece of chocolate cake. It's going to be ejected. It's, it does not discriminate. So it happens to teenagers, to people in their 60s and 70s, male, female, athletes, not in shape, not. It's very fascinating how, I call it a food hangover. It's terrible. But that's really, that's more like, okay, great. I don't have to tell you not to eat these things. I'm like, so what'd you learn? They're like, I'm not going to do that again. I don't think I'm going to do that again.
You feel it.
Because nobody wants to be told what to do. I don't, our inner child comes in and is like, great, here comes another clinician telling me I've got to do these 50 things. So the way that I work with my clients is more including them. It's like, well, tell me what you think. So I give you all these recommendations. How do you want to tackle this? I'll give you some guidance, but you tell me. You live your life. I don't live in your house. I can tell you to go eliminate all these foods, and you're like, someone tells me to go gluten-free, and I'm going to rip their face off. They're not happy, and I'm like, okay. So I don't want to be assumptive. So I think that sometimes the disconnect in my field is that they sit there and dictate to people, this is what you have to do,
right,
versus including them. What do you think? Like, is this, maybe they don't even cook, okay, let's source food for you. There's plenty of options out there.
Yeah. And so what would you say to our community? So people that might be listening right now, if they're thinking about food differently, where can they start in this journey, this process? Maybe they're already doing something like this, but if they're trying to say, you know what, I want to be more mindful of how food makes me feel on a day-to-day basis, what can I begin to do today in my home right now?
And it's the little changes, of being aware of your eating patterns and making those small adjustments. Giving your body a break. I think it's really important to shorten your window of eating. We call it time restrictive eating, but again, that restrictive fasting, people freak out, but really shortening that window. So instead of eating at 6 a.m. till 10 o'clock at night, one of my hard line in the sands that I always teach a lot of my clients, I'm like, look, athlete or not, active or not, I don't want people eating 3 hours or sooner by bedtime, because that food's sitting in the belly, it's not getting digested, it's now being stored as fat, and we don't get in that really good deep sleep cycle. So it really doesn't benefit a lot of people. Obviously, if they're really young and they're children, and that's a different population. But for everyone else, because of our circadian rhythms and our sleep cycles, if our body's busy digesting food, we're not going to be able to get that good deep sleep. Now, all of a sudden, the next day, we didn't sleep very good, so we're choosing bad food, and you're on that roller coaster ride again. So I kind of like always teaching people, if anyone can listen, shorten that window of eating. And it'll reduce calories, because if we're eating at 6 a.m, well, there's a snack at 9, there's a lunch at 12, there's a snack at 3, there's dinner at 6, we're having a snack before bedtime. Those are like 9 different eating components. So if we're really shortening that window, it's much better for us. So we're not constantly eating.
That's big, because most people don't even put those things together in terms of why we're doing what we're doing and how that impacts the brain and the body, the digestive, your sleep. Sleep is so huge when it comes to being able to meet the goals, the healing process. So.
And think about a car. We're running a car 24/7. It's going to break down at some point. So giving your body that time to rest, digest, repair is just imperative. So that overnight, there's all these processes that can happen. Well, if there's food in the belly and we're not able to get there, then it becomes problematic. And over time, we start to have bigger things that are happening that are just throwing the whole system off. So without getting into that whole topic, because we could do a show on gut.
We're going to do a series together, don't you worry.
We'll be back for sure. Just kind of get that nice big gap, 2-3 hours before bedtime, no food, water's fine, tea, unsweetened, no calories. Just keep it simple.
Keep it simple. I like it. You do a lot of different things for the community in terms of just kind of educating, providing information. Share a little bit with our audience about some of the fun things that you're involved in terms of, you just did a cooking. What was that for?
Oh, it was for a corporate account of mine. That was really fun. So because of my chef background, they were doing this really cool, they said, we want to do a group series of 4 groups of 10. So 40 of us are going to cook for 65. It was the largest active ongoing cooking class that I did for this corporate account. So we cooked for 65, and it was this huge lunch. They made dessert. They made strawberry shortcakes from scratch. So it was a lot of fun. So I love to be able to teach people, how to apply, how to cook. We had strawberry shortcake, so there's cream and butter, and it's okay, but we made small shortcakes and handmade whipped cream and all that stuff. So it's fresh is best. I'm always teaching people in that avenue. So I do fun things like that.
That's big
for people.
Education, because I think we have to know. We need to know. We don't know what we don't know until it's like, oh, I didn't know that. So the education component. So what kinds of things? Because as you're teaching others, training others, what do you do for yourself on a day-to-day basis to kind of, first, I love to ask my guests what mental fitness means to you, and what do you do to kind of stay mentally fit?
Oh, that's such a good question. Deep and juicy. I'm always humble. I feel like I never know enough, so I'm always actively looking to learn. And I do think it's mindset. So if I can set myself up for success and know that I can do it, or I can resolve that, then I really focus on those things.
That's huge. Mindset is a big thing. As we talk about on this show all the time, it starts there and what we think about different things. And we're talking about food, and we're thinking about healing through food. In ways that we can actually use food as fuel. I think that is one of the most important things that we have to start with. Our mindset around food, our upbringing in terms of what food meant to us. And so as you're working with clients and as you're kind of doing that profile, that initial assessment, where it's a way to kind of help people begin to say, okay, this is my relationship currently with food. How do I begin this journey of shifting that process as food, as medicine for healing versus something to just kind of survive and I need, and that mystifying like you were talking about earlier.
Yep, that emotional state.
Yeah. How can we start there?
I think reflecting, how much support do you need? Seeking out someone like myself to help them out, getting someone to guide them so they can figure out what their body needs. Some people need further, it's more psychological. Trauma could be associated with all that. So I think it's an individualized question. In asking, I think language matters. So asking those questions, changing the mindset of thinking, oh, I should do this. Oh, you know what? I should call somebody, or you have to. Yeah. You have to do this. You know why? Because this problem's not going to go away. It doesn't just disappear. They usually compound. So now all of a sudden they start to stack. We're 20 pounds. Oh, another 10 slipped on. Now I feel even worse. Now all of a sudden I have diabetes. Yeah, that doesn't go away. So I think changing that mental mindset of I have to call someone like yourself, someone like myself, to get that support that they need. And once they change their mindset, it's beautiful. Changes will happen. It's just a matter of telling ourselves that we have to do this, and that if you decide, oh, I've tried this before and it's not going to work. Well, no, it's not, because that's what you're thinking. It's never going to work. I think anybody can do anything. Not to say you're 5'2" and you're going to be 7 feet tall and the greatest basketball player, but there are great basketball players that aren't 7 feet tall either. And they look beyond. They're always striving to be better, and they know that they can believe in themselves and do that. And you've got to find your tribe to be able to support you in that manner. Versus someone just told me the other day that their doctor told them they were obese. They were 10 pounds overweight, So I don't know if I'd hire that doctor again. I mean, you're hiring these people. So she's certainly not going back to that particular doctor. So finding that tribe that will help you and be honest and guide you in the right direction is so impactful.
That's a big thing, because again, once we come into places with different symptoms and things going on, we might not get that information that, oh, wait, go try this. Have we adjusted that? Let's take a look further. And I love the work that you do. When we think about integrative and functional medicine, you're getting to the root cause of what's going on, not just sticking a Band-Aid on something and saying, take this, but let's peel the layers back a little bit. Let's figure out what kinds of things are going on in your environment. Is there trauma? Is there stress? All these things that could be happening that can be causing some of the things that we're experiencing.
Yeah. And often I hear like, oh my gosh, I can't lose weight. And to me, I'm going, oh, what's going on systemically? Like, is there inflammation? Is there gut stuff? Because often they'll keep trying and then they feel real frustrated. They're coming to me in tears. I've been working so hard. It's not happening. Really, there's more of that root cause. Like, well, there's something else maybe perhaps going on here, that it's not just your behavior that everyone's saying it's all you. You're just eating donuts all the time. Well, no, you're actually doing the work. And now all of a sudden, here we are.
Yes. And community, Christiane has offered us a 30-minute free consultation with her. If you have questions or just want to kind of reach out, get to know her, begin a plan of working with her, how can they connect with you? How can they find you? Let's give them some information.
Sure. So you can find me at themintnutrition.com, so they can go on the website. Normally it's a 15-minute consultation, but we'll do that with some coaching so they can ask them, kind of get to feel like, or give them a sense of direction of where to go. It's really about, learning who's good for you and vice versa. This is a relationship. So that's really me getting to know you. And in this one, I'm really going to offer some coaching and give them some guidance afterwards. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, so they can message me at any of those places if they can't find my website.
That is so awesome. I can't thank you enough for your time today and all the work that you continue to do. Community, let's begin to heal through our choices in our food selection, being more mindful, taking more time. Make sure you go out and spread this and share this with others. Make sure you go out, shine bright like the stars that you are. I can't wait to see you guys next week. Thank you so much.
That's it for today's episode of Mental Fitness Matters. Get more tips, tools, strategies, and solutions that will help you reach your peak mental fitness by joining Tracy every Thursday from 8:30 to 9 a.m. and 6:30 to 7 p.m. for Mental Fitness Matters on News Talk WSIC.